Welcome to Your Wish Fulfilled. This is your magical place to feel good now and relax and come into the awareness that on a deeper level you are safe, secure, and you've attained everything. And this is where we go into the feeling of having already attained everything you want right now, and also some practical things on how to manifest what you want and attract those things into your life. In this session, we're continuing with our wonderful discoveries of this book, The Law of Success by Paramhansa Yogananda. And this is packed with profound principles and ideas. In the last session, we talked about you can control your destiny simply by choosing a task that you want to accomplish that you haven't mastered. Be sure you've chosen something that is right for you, and then concentrate on a single purpose, using all abilities and opportunities to make it happen. Now, that might sound simple, but it contains profound truths, which I highly recommend you listen to in the other session. In this session, we're diving into fear. Fear exhausts life energy. So let's say you have a goal, you want to make it happen, you're moving towards it, you want to achieve this, you can imagine it, you can feel it, but then fear comes up. What if it doesn't work? What if it goes wrong? What if I lose money? What if this? What if this? What if this? Fear exhausts life energy. And if we don't overcome this, then we end up in a state of paralysis, analysis paralysis, or just being trapped, or even feeling fear and then attracting fearful outcomes because of the vibration. So let's get into what Yogananda says about fear. The human brain is a storehouse of life energy. This energy is constantly employed in muscular movements, in the working of the heart, lungs, and the diaphragm, in cellular metabolism and chemicalization of blood, and in carrying on the work of the telephonic sensory motor system, the nerves. Besides this, a tremendous amount of life energy is required in all processes of thought, emotion, and will. So just tune into it. You have life energy flowing through you right now. Fear exhausts life energy. It is one of the greatest enemies of dynamic willpower. Fear causes the life force that ordinarily flows steadily through the nerves to be squeezed out, and the nerves themselves to become as though paralyzed. The vitality of the whole body is lowered. Fear doesn't help you get away from the object of fear. It only weakens willpower. Fear causes the brain to send an inhibiting message to all bodily organs. It constricts the heart, checks the digestive functions, and causes many other physical disturbances. When the consciousness is kept on guard, you will have no fears. Every obstacle will then be overcome by courage and faith. A wish is a desire without energy. After a wish may become intention, the plan to do a thing, to fulfill a wish or desire, but will means I act until I get my wish. When you exercise your willpower, you release the power of life energy. Not when you merely wish passively to be able to obtain an objective. So, fear. Do you have any fear? Let's get into this. Have you ever experienced that, where you are feeling fine, you're excited, inspired, and then you come into fear and it just, everything freezes up. That's why it's called frozen with fear. You get stuck, can't move. Some people literally, like, they become paralyzed. So fear, you probably experience this, it sucks all the energy out, completely freaks us out, and then we're not going to do anything. Happens to people all the time, especially if they're about to move forward. Shall I buy this thing? Shall I get this thing? Shall I go here? What if this happens? And it all just shuts down and people just totally lose it. Fear often comes about at exactly the wrong moment. Just when we're about to do something, then the fear comes and it just shuts it all down. So let's go through this step by step. The human brain is a storehouse of life energy. This energy is constantly employed in muscular movements, in the working of the heart, lungs, and diaphragm, in cellular metabolism, chemicalization of the blood, and in carrying on the work of the telephonic sensory motor system, the nervous system. Besides this, a tremendous amount of life energy is required in all processes of thought, emotion, and will. So to be alive, to have thoughts, requires enormous energy. And I'm sure you've experienced when you get sick, all that life energy is reduced, right? Because the life energy is going on fighting off the illness, or recovering. And so getting sick is a loss of life energy, but fear is sort of a bit like getting sick, except it just comes upon us when we're well. Fear exhausts life energy. It is one of the greatest enemies of dynamic willpower. Willpower where you have the capacity to focus on what you want long enough for you to get what you want. Fear causes the life force that ordinarily flows steadily through the nerves to be squeezed out, and the nerves themselves to become as though paralyzed. The vitality of the whole body is lowered. Fear doesn't help you to get away from the object of fear, it only weakens your power. So the fear doesn't even work. I'll give an example of useful fear, right? Let's say, for example, that you're standing on the edge of a cliff. Very recently, a couple of weeks ago, I was up in the mountains in Utah near Colorado. It's an incredible place called Castle Valley, and I was right on the edge of this cliff, and it dropped off about 2,000 feet, just literally a straight drop down, right? Just massive cliffs. And as I walked right to the edge, right, I started to feel weak in the knees, right? Normally I don't have a fear of heights, but this is like a just straight drop down 2,000 feet. So my natural response was don't move. Like, even though I could put my legs over the edge, but it was like super windy, really, really windy, cold, windy. So my body, my mind was very clearly saying, don't go too far, right? You can be like 2 feet away is all right, but don't go right over the edge because you could be knocked over. The huge gust of wind could come. I could lose my grip and be off, right? That would be the end of my life physically. That is a useful kind of fear because it's supposed to debilitate me from taking further action towards walking off the cliff. But in many cases in life, it's not helping at all. It just totally paralyzes us from taking action. Fear causes the brain to send inhibiting message to all the organs. It constricts the heart, checks the digestive functions, and causes many other physical disturbances. And now he comes to the antidote to this. When the consciousness is kept on God, God is a being of infinite love, infinite power, safe and secure, the ocean of bliss. So when you focus on this infinite loving presence, you will have no fears. Every obstacle will then be overcome by courage and faith. So the courage to keep taking action, and the faith, the certainty that it's going to work out. So this is his solution. And I personally have experienced this. If I'm remembering God, connecting with that love and light and peace, then the fear goes away. And now he talks about the difference between a wish and making something happen. So this podcast is called Your Wish Fulfilled, but you can't just wish for things. You need something more than that. So a wish is a desire without energy. Wouldn't it be wonderful if I had this thing I want? Wouldn't it be wonderful? So it's just a desire that you're holding in your awareness. After a wish may come intention. So that's going from a desire that's just floating around to intending for that desire to happen. The plan to do a thing, to fulfill a wish or desire. So intention is more powerful than a wish. When you exercise your willpower onto the desire, you release the power of life energy. Not when you merely wish passively to be able to obtain an objective. Does that make sense? So we start off with a wish, wouldn't it be nice? Then we have an intention. I am going to make this happen. And then we use the power of life energy, the willpower, to actually dedicate our thoughts, words, and actions towards the thing we want. Because remember, we have all three: thoughts and feelings, words, and actions. And if they're all focused on that which we desire with our willpower, then it will become manifest. So tune into this. Do you have any fear? And is it inhibiting your capacity to use your willpower towards the thing that you want? And if it is, then the solution is to focus your mind on a power greater than yourself, to focus on eternal power. Because the more the mind is focused on that powerful energy, that safe place, that safe being, presence, it clears out the fear, and then it allows us to take action and just keep taking action, because it's going to come up. There's fear, and there's also resistance, which is another problem, which we're not going to get into here. But resistance is really actually a form of fear. So when you know what you want, then we need to dedicate our willpower, our love, our attention, thoughts, words, and actions towards that. And then fear and resistance and all these things come up to try and destroy our life. And we need to have the capacity to keep going. So we're going to get into this more in the next session. But think about this for now. Is fear holding you back? And when it does, now you know what to do. And all these things, like anything in life, need to be experienced and practiced. Fear exhausts life energy. The human brain is a storehouse of life energy. This energy is constantly employed in muscular movements, in the working of the heart, lungs, diaphragm, cellular metabolism, chemicalization of the blood, and the nervous system. Besides this, a tremendous amount of life energy is required in all processes of thought, emotion, and will. Fear exhausts life energy. It is one of the greatest enemies of dynamic willpower. Fear causes the life force that ordinarily flows steadily through the nerves to be squeezed out, and the nerves themselves to become as though paralyzed. The vitality of the whole body is lowered. Fear doesn't help you get away from the object of fear, it only weakens your willpower. Fear causes the brain to send an inhibiting message to all bodily organs. It constricts the heart, checks the digestive functions, and causes many other physical disturbances. When the consciousness is kept on God, you will have no fears. Every obstacle will then be overcome with courage and faith. A wish is a desire without energy. After a wish may come intention, the plan to do a thing, to fulfill a wish or desire. But will means I act until I get my wish. When you exercise your willpower, you release the power of life energy, not when you merely wish passively, but to be able to obtain an objective. So tune into this. Keep focused on what you want. Keep doing the things that you need to do. And recognize when fear comes up how horrible it is, how toxic it is. You can also do VOOs to help calm the nervous system, because it's the sympathetic nervous system that's the fight or flight. Digestion doesn't work. That's why the parasympathetic nervous system, when you're not in fear, is called rest and digest, because you can't digest your food or rest if you're in that fear response. And unfortunately, in the modern world, most people are in the sympathetic fear-based nervous system state almost all the time. A lot of people, that even though they're safe, they are trapped in it. I actually have a sleep course that goes into this in great detail, because if we can't balance our nervous system, then we are always stuck in this lack of capacity to actually do what we want, because it's freaking us out. It's very hard to take action towards our desires when we're paralyzed. So we need to relax the nervous system, focus on something that actually helps. And then in that rest and digest, relaxed place, you can keep moving forward towards what you want in your thoughts, words, and actions. And before you know it, you will have manifested that which you desire. Your wish will actually have become fulfilled. So, have a beautiful day. Enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. I'll connect with you in the next session. Hopefully this has been helpful. If anyone else is in fear, you can send it to them to listen to. If you haven't already and you like this session and these trainings, feel free to leave a review. I really appreciate it, or a comment. And sending you lots of love. And may all your pure desires become manifest with ease and joy. Till next time, many blessings.